prize on your hand. Hold tight, don't lose your way, chasing for the glory to the end. Don't run, be the one, bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, hold your face and sword. Go fight a secret, I win this war. We rise up higher, reach for the sky, hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark, get ready to fight for your life. We rise up, climb on, choose the highest ground of the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause we are the kings, we are the queens. We will rise up to the top. Stand up, don't draw in the dust. The land of the sand knows the answer in your head. Hold tight, it's worth the try, chasing for the glory in the fight. Don't run, you're the one, bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, hold your face and sword. Go fight a secret, I win this war. We rise up higher, reach for the sky, hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark, get ready to fight for your life. We rise up, climb on, choose the highest ground of the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause we are the kings, we are the queens. We will rise up to the top. Even when you fall, sticks and stones may break your bones, but you are stronger than the heaviest waves. The earthquake won't shake you, 'cause you are the king, you are the queen, you are the truth of the land. You rise up higher, reach for the sky, hold on to your weapons with pride. You rise up higher, conquer the ark, get ready to fight for your life. You rise up, climb to the highest ground of the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause you are the king, you are the queen. You will rise up to the top. Stand up, don't drown in the dust. The land of the sand wants a prize on your hand. Hold tight, don't lose your way, chasing for the glory to the end. Don't run, be the one, bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, hold your face and sword. Go fight a secret, I win this war. We rise up higher, reach for the sky, hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark, get ready to fight for your life. We rise up, climb on, choose the highest ground of the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause we are the kings, we are the queens. We will rise up to the top. Stand up, don't draw in the dust. The land of the sand knows the answer in your head. Hold tight, it's worth the try, chasing for the glory in the fight. Don't run, you're the one, bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, bones, but you are stronger than the heaviest waves. The earth.
Welcome, rockers. It's Anthony with the Ball Burritos bringing you a brand new live stream. Rockers, I hope y'all are ready. We got a doozy coming in to wrap up week 1. We got 2 alliances from Kingdom 1860. Going to be battling it out to see who's going to take the first dub. First dub in 860 today. We got the battle coming in between DNS and DN-1. 2 phenomenal teams. I'm very excited to be casting alongside my fellow friend and streamer, caster. Y'all know him, Cheesy Pants, Crab Rave himself. We all know who it is, baby. So, Chis, I'm glad to have you on the stream today, my friend.
Hey, call me Cheesy Pants, baby. Thanks for having me here. I'm hyped to cast this match with you. I know there are few players and streamers that are as obsessed with Arc League as you are. And so I know it's got to give you mixed feelings here that these 2 alliances are from the same kingdom.
It makes you question sometimes. You're just like, is somebody just gonna take a hot L just to, and then you start playing with hey, if we can both make it out, it's just funny scenarios like that. But I definitely think they're both gonna kind of shell out. I'm always excited for stuff like this. We're gonna see this in Horus later on when we see 108 battling against OV. Like it's always fun to watch that because let's be real. We all play this game because we're competitive, and you got a little competitive juices flowing, a little internal kingdom trash talk, little banter. So we all know it is, and I appreciate. And I'm excited to be casting with you, my friend. So we're going to. I have a graphic for us on the comparison between DNS and DN1. We have quite a power difference between it. So just to give everyone's a heads up, DNS has 2.5, roughly 2.6 billion power. And then DN1 coming in at 3.9, almost 4 billion power. So Chis, I asked this to Drago earlier. Do you think it makes a huge, massive difference? Or what differences do you think it makes when you're coming in as kind of the underpowered team into a match?
It depends. It depends on what it signifies. Does it signify that they've got less strong commanders? Or is it just that they don't have as many troops because they've fought hard or they had a difficult KVK? So if they're just low on troops, that can be offset by healing speed-ups. But if the power is also representative of commander depth and equipment depth, then I think that's going to be a difficult thing to overcome. But also, what's weird about this matchup? Mm-hmm. I mean, when a kingdom's, fighting another alliance from the same kingdom, they know each other's strategies. They know what the other team is going to do. They probably have practiced with each other, right?
100%.
But I think you were saying earlier that these teams are probably going to be competitive. I think you're spot on that, competitive kingdoms have competitive players, and competitive players are going to slug it out, man. I bet you, and I don't know, but I bet you that these 2 alliances are ready to really go at it here. And I mean, may the best alliance win.
Yeah, we were excited. We had a lot of. Have you had a chance to check out some of the massive upsets that happened today? Dragon and I were talking
I was looking at the scoreboard and I was like, man, some of these matches are really close and some of them are not.
We had 2 former champions lose today. So we had PX34 get bumped. Then we had 94 VN get bumped as well. 108 barely won towards the very end. Mimi pushed them all the way to the limits. TR did a really great job as well. They doubled up everybody. And oh man, just dude, some of these matches that are going to be coming up, especially next week, because next week we have those teams that might have lost this week that we expected to kind of make it through to top 16 and are now going to be fighting to just try to make it into the second position, or and so next week's going to be really spicy. But I'm very excited. We got 15 seconds before we're going to kick off DNS versus DN1. Make sure you get your vote in if you haven't voted already on the poll that we have running on the live stream. Don't forget to do us a favor, drop us the likes, make sure you shout out your kingdoms and alliances, and we appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with us today. All right, let me see, timer is up. Let's get into this bad boy. Let me see, Horus, let's switch real quick. Boom. All right, and we're in. Let me take my beautiful face off of this. That way y'all can enjoy the game way more than my sus potato face. So, all right, Chiss, how much would you say you know about DN1?
To be perfectly honest, I don't know nearly as much as I should. I've been hearing a lot about Kingdom 1860, but I'm not as familiar with the alliances that are in it.
Yeah, I hear a lot about them in KVK. We all hear about it. Fleisch moving there, like they have a lot of people coming in, so I am excited to see how their teams are going to adapt, how they've changed from migrations and bringing people in. I believe they are coming out of a tough KVK 3v5. I believe they were winning it, so I'm excited to see that, and it's always fun to get a nice competitive match at the end. So DNS, I've heard good things about as well. But at 2.5 billion, it's going to be a lot of heals, baby. It's going to be a lot of heals today.
Now, I see a star under the banner for each of these alliances. I guess they both have been the alliance that was holding the Zig at one point?
I believe so. I believe it's just the alliance at the very end that's holding it, that gets the star, because we have some like 2K teams that have more stars than a lot of kingdoms that have gone through like 9 or 10 KVKs, and I'm like, what? So I believe it's the alliance at the very end that gets it, so you can kind of share it around.
Okay. Well, I'm really hyped for this match. I mean, coming out of the gates here, I don't know that we would expect to see any different strategies than we've seen in the realm of Horus. I would expect the strategies to be about the same, right? And for context, I think in the earliest realms, with the youngest kingdoms, we might see some different strategies based on the commanders and based on the number of troops people have, right? That is
true, yeah.
But here, do you think we'll see aggression toward the altars at the start?
I think DN1 is a pretty aggressive team. What I'm interested to see is what DNS is going to do, because I don't want to say we know exactly what DN1, because they are one of the biggest alliances in 860. So I assume that most of their players are pretty organized, good fighters. So I know what to expect kind of from DN1. DNS is the kind of the linchpin, the interesting part that I'm excited for, to see if they're going to be as aggressive or they're going to try to play it back a little bit. So we're actually going to start off with DNS and see if they're going to bring out some weird commander pools or what we're looking like. Simplified graphics. Oh no. Let me see. Got it.
By the way, Chad is suggesting that it's the whole coalition that owns the Zig at the end that gets a star. So perhaps each alliance in the coalition. That's generous. Everybody gets a star. You get a star and you get a star.
It's like the memes where they're just throwing the L's at everybody, but we're just going to throw stars out here. All right, let me see. We got
So mostly symmetry at the start of this match. Rallies on obelisks is what you would expect, but the team in red is also rallying one of the outposts. And it looks like where are they going? Hold on, let me get a look here. I can view the city and I can view the outpost. It is the center outpost on the far side. So one extra rally from the team in red. I like that aggression toward the outpost, even if you break it ultimately to have somebody run around in the back and mess with gatherers.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of the some teams that we've seen that will send like 5 marches up the middle instead of doing a rally plus a couple of extra marches. That way you're getting some forward facing marches, even if you're not going for outpost. Always getting some marches further up in the map faster is always going to benefit you. But I am seeing a lot of Guans, a ton of Guans on the side of DN1, Saladins as well, but not as many XYs as I kind of expected. They're going more Archer and Guan. So this is going to be...
I see a couple of Minamotos. I see a lot of Cavs. I'm looking at a Trajan cavalry march walking down the field from DNS, all cavalry. So I think there's some emphasis here on movement, and it makes sense. Previous Osiris champions have said as much, that march speed is like really important. And I have to say, like, a lot of this is about logistics, being in the right place at the right time.
I agree 100%. And you're also going to see, and I want to keep an eye to see if DNS is going to try to pull some Jadwiga garrisons, because that would make sense why they have so many cav coming in.
Oh, good insight. Yeah.
Just in case we're seeing a ton more cav coming on the bottom side. Clicking, yep, and we just saw a Jadwiga right there. A little bit slower, but it's all right. She'll get there eventually. Alex as your fast infantry coming through as well. So they are pushing forward. The rally is about to reach the bottom side desert altar. On the side, you should see it break off. Let me see what they're sending. XY tends to be one of the faster combos, so I don't think... Yeah, the obelisk is already captured, so I don't think they're going to do that. I think they'll break it off.
So, Bulbaritos, if you had to guess what kind of rally they sent to the outpost, what troop type do you think they would use? Infantry, archers, or cavs?
I would assume cav, because
That's what I would assume too, but it's archers running down the field. So we got a Nebu rally cruising toward that outpost, which,
wow.
I mean, I don't know. I'm intrigued.
I'm
I don't know what's going on.
See, now
I will say,
I got me intrigued.
look at that grouping by the desert altar south part of the map. Blue is there, and DN1 is not.
Yep. There comes the rally from DN1 crisscrossing. Now, I would like to see DNS, the soldiers that are sitting there, the marches that are sitting there, sit on the front side. That way, DN1 has to push through them. So parking on the back side, there we go. We're starting to see some move up. But that way, they're not getting a free run directly into the sky altar. Those are about to open up here in about 60 seconds. The fighting is going to break out. And Chiss, how many? We're about to see some brawls here around these desert altars. Let's see who's going to get their first occupations.
I really think DNS is looking really good to snipe this altar from DN1. So that's blue, the weaker alliance by power, sniping the altar from the alliance in red, the stronger alliance by power. I mean, it's 40 seconds out, and blue's got a ton of bodies here.
Now, I am liking what I'm seeing from DNS. So what a lot of teams don't do, and I've noticed this a lot, is when they see a Jadwiga or when they see a Zenobia on the field, that you're not like, it's not like a dog seeing a squirrel. Like, you should be like that. If it's close by, you take out the garrisons as fast as you can, because more often than not, they're not very good in the open field. And that's going to save you a lot of heartache before they get into a garrison. So I did see it on the top side where they were starting to swarm a Jadwiga before she got there. 5 seconds before they open.
Yeah, they're totally diving her. I mean, and I think it's a good call, to your point, to just dive the garrison captains so that they can't have that really powerful hold. And wow, DN1 somehow gets into the altar with a Saladin. Not terrible. Not terrible. Swarm from DNS now has to deal with that. Okay.
Look how aggressive they are.
They get a captain and then switch it. They're actually, okay, Artemisia captain. Not the captain I would pick, but I mean, use what you've got. Okay, and there we go.
But
in a perfect world, I think a different captain. Oh, and there's YSS outside the garrison.
But look at the aggression.
A little too late. Almost got there. Oh, and there's Artemisia. You know, I have to say, Amanatori and Artemisia are really good, if for no other reason than the fact that they can be in the field, and then you put them in the garrison, and they're not half bad.
I do see a Pakal rallying this obelisk on the bottom side for a DN1. Oh, let's see. I'm very interested to see. Okay, they're going to start swarming it. Good. because a lot of the times people will catch you off guard because they have all your marches so far up on the field that a rally can sometimes sneak through the back. But it appears like, yeah, they have some marches left over, so they should be able to clean up that Pakal. But DNS, I'm very impressed with their aggression on the map. We are getting to the point where we got to start thinking about rotating towards middle. So if you are DNS, those those yellow and red marches, you should be suiciding those into some marches to try to clear them out. So then you can send to middle with full marches.
Yeah, we have a Jad Garrison in the Desert Altar. DNS, impressive aggression at the start of this match. They're going to get the first capture points here in about 47 seconds. And I don't see anything from DN-1 that's going to be able to stop that.
DNS, even on the top side, they're holding their own altar. You should start seeing most of these marches, not all of them. Some of them will go back, but you should start seeing people rotate towards middle. And then it's going to be...
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I'm looking at an Attila Takeda with some siege units in there. They totally targeted a resource node. And then didn't make sure that they had all cavalry. Happens to the best of us.
DNS, let's see what they do. Top side, they're sitting there. They got first occupation on that desert altar. I want to see if the call gets made to rotate middle, because this time it's going to be a little bit awkward. They just got the first occupation. They snubbed it from DN-1 on the bottom side. So we're rotating in with a points advantage from stealing that desert altar from DN-1. And nobody's in the middle. It's a barren wasteland in there.
It is a barren wasteland. I mean, it kind of started as a barren wasteland, but also you would expect there to be some people in there mixing things up with 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
if you're DNS, you should be rotating to this arc, because the arc is going to be worth 3,000 points, which is not a make or break type deal, but it does allow you the opportunity to control the pacing. And right now, you're already controlling the pacing.
oh, but you see this backline action going on here with DN-1? Captured the Sky Altar. Amanatori was captain. Now Alexander the Great is captain, I think. That's a little confusing. But they took the Sky Altar, and now they're rotating to Shrine of War.
Ooh.
In the back side of the bottom of the map there. So I'm kind of intrigued to see if that is a play to go for middle eventually after they take Shrine of War, or if maybe they're just doing a structure game.
I think they're going to rotate middle. I think they're rotating middle through the top. We're going to keep our eyes on it. I definitely saw what you were talking about. But yeah, I think that blue right here, DNS, is going to think that they're going to swarm the Shrine of War. And I think they're just going to march past them and just clamp them right in the middle. Let's see if DN-1 is going to start rotating, and they're not. So bottom side isn't rotating in. DN-1, they're going full send. They're going full send onto the altars. Nobody's rotating middle.
Plot twist. Both teams, potentially, I'm making this up, I don't actually know, but plot twist. How funny would it be? Both teams agree to not fight for the arc at all.
We had
zero arc.
If you didn't
just
see,
structure battle.
ironic you say that. We laughed because Drago and I were like, all right, last match we casted, all right, the skills are being popped. Neither alliance moved in the middle. Like, they popped all their skills and just let them flame out. And I was like, oh Lord. It was so fun. It's like they wanted the meme at the point. It was too good. All
now
right.
wait a minute. Which of these alliances had more power? Do I have this backwards?
DN-1
DN-1 has more power.
by almost double.
But they're making some interesting choices here with their garrison captain. I mean, oh, wow. YSS Theodora. We haven't seen that as meta in some time.
I do see DNS starting to rotate over from the bottom side towards middle. So we're going to keep our eyes out. It looks like DN-1 are just pushing towards the obelisk on the bottom side. I don't really know what they're pushing towards. Unless
Well,
they're
with 3 altars in the hands of red, that will start to equalize the score. And now that they've got a hold of their own desert altar, I guess they're saying enough is enough. Time to go middle, folks. We've secured our side. Let's get the arc. And the funny thing is that they would be late in any other matchup. But the folks in blue, DNS, haven't moved in yet. So it's still anybody's arc.
DN-1 are starting to move in. Now DNS is starting to... Are we on the same comms, guys? I'm just playing, right? Now, how funny would that be? You're just hearing everyone else's comms. But yeah, blue and red are both moving in. Top side, bottom side, they're all coming from all directions. So it's going to be a ball all over the place. Let's check out some of these structures leading into it. Let me see. They got their occupation back on their altars. The altar that they snubbed now has an Amani in it, and she is holding nice up on the bottom side closest to DNS Obelisk.
Look at that. Oh, swarming a Pakal Herald? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I mean, it'll accelerate the ending of the fight. I'm just not sure in whose favor, the rally or the swarmers.
Ooh, and now we're watching middle. Now, I'm pretty confident DN-1 they definitely have the numbers as of right now. I do like what DNS is doing here, and this is a nice play that a lot of teams don't do. When you're waiting in middle, waiting to start the fight, they'll sit in the nodes just for those couple of seconds, and then it starts. If each member is starting to do that and they're around a structure and you're not doing anything, you're at least getting some ticks towards. Oh, and DNS just full charging in the middle. Let's see some skills get popped.
DNS is sending. They had to because the arc is just spawned.
Mm-hmm. And they
had really no choice to take this hugely disadvantaged fight. I mean, if you're DN1, I don't think you even use any skills. This arc is yours. It's basically free. And there they go.
There goes CC.
Off with the arc. Double C carrier. Didn't catch who the secondary was. But that thing is moving with a few in pursuit. Getting some shields from Alexander the Great. Oh my goodness. Arc is down.
All the bellies are going to get melted so fast right here. Ooh.
Yeah, this is rough. I mean, your best case here if you're DNS is that you're stalling for a larger force to get here. But is that larger force on the way? I don't see it.
Yeah, these double Cs are just scooping and scooping and scooping. And I'm very surprised that DNS hasn't popped a skill. I'm surprised nobody's popped a skill. And there we go.
Hard push.
Ooh.
Swift stride.
To try to catch this
How
arc runner.
do you feel about Swift stride?
I think Swift stride has its play, but you gotta. I think there's a couple scenarios that I would use Swift stride. One, I would use it if you know you're coming in late, and that's kind of the strategies when I always say you got to practice being the ones that are there early, but then also counter strat in case like a team will rotate early and you got to push in. I feel like when it comes to numbers, popping Swift stride to rotate middle when you're going to be coming in late, I feel like is a great play. Or if you are the numbering team that outnumbers your opponent and you feel like you're going to be able to grab it and just run, that's always a nice play. It's not a high skill usage or point usage, but you do get massive benefit, especially when you have CCs that are grabbing this art. You really don't notice the march debuff, the speed debuff when they're picking it up with Swift Stride. When do you like using Swift Stride?
I generally don't.
You don't?
I think for a trick play, it's kind of cool. But in this case, I feel like, I think it was DN1 that used it. And I feel like they already had the arc in the bag. And if it was DNS that used it, yeah. I feel like it wasn't going to be the differentiator between stopping this arc or not.
That I can agree with.
So it just doesn't feel like a great use of points to me.
Yeah,
I've always sort of felt, and this doesn't mean I'm right. In fact, I've seen trick plays executed very well with this, but for just like general use, if your game plan is to just like throw it in there every now and then, that feels like it's sort of suboptimal to me.
Yeah, I agree. DNS was the one that popped it. I felt like they probably just popped it because they were trying to get more people to middle. But at that point there, the arc had already spawned. Like, I wouldn't be popping it for that unless you're making like a home run type play at the very end where you need to stall and get as many, like you got to stop the arc carrier at all costs. That was probably not the best play. I probably would have used War Drums for those skill points as opposed to Swift Stride in that regard.
What do you think about them capping the arc now?
I think DN1 are very, very confident in their ability. And their mid game has always been very strong. So I think that's kind of a confidence play more than a strategic play. Because right now, as you saw when they capped it, all their marches went forward facing. So they're not pulling back. They're not going back to their cities. They're progressing forward on the map. And that I'm always for, because it's very hard playing on your back foot. So once you start giving it up, it's, you know, you're just kind of giving away your map presence. So I am okay with it. I think they're going to be okay with the rotation timing. I think it puts DNS in kind of an awkward state, though.
Dude, live stream chat with the jokes. I hope that 1860 wins. This is the live stream chat. That's pretty funny, actually. Yes, one thing is guaranteed from this matchup. 1860 will have a winner emerge. Nice swarm there. Ooh, Sky Altars getting rallied again. Pakal Herald seems to be a popular rally in this matchup.
Yeah, we saw nothing but Gilgamesh with the song match. It was very interesting, and it was melting the Xenos. It was just too overpowered. It was very nice. But let me see, and just like that, we see, and this is the play that when we talk about movement on the field and how you kind of dictate the aggression and basically what your opponent's doing, you'll see it right here. You see the rally coming in. Instead of open field fighting, DN-1 is doing the smart play and either making DNS decide, hey, are we going to follow this or are we going to progress on the map? And as you see, they both split because they saw that these marches from the bottom, from their side, was going to be coming in. So they didn't give up their map in order to stop this rally, which is very smart.
I'm kind of curious here. I mean, it seems like DN1 is going for arcs, and they're going to win with arcs rather than structures. And I feel like that push to the outside on the Sky Altar, where they did have 3 altars for a while, was a ploy to distract the folks in blue from getting to the middle. That's my sense of kind of what they were up to, and I feel like it worked. And one march is already here in the center, so it's not a completely abandoned area. 5 minutes, 30 seconds till arc. Like, they already need to be thinking about the arc.
See, but this is what I mean right there. If he was sitting in this res node right here for 5 minutes, he'd actually be contributing. So that's the little plays that I always say. If there was like 10 people and you didn't want to give away position, I would be okay with that. But you definitely always want to be in here trying to get some sort of ticks on it, and because we've seen matches where teams have lost by 1 point. And I've seen absolutely tragic maps and people are losing by 100 or people. So every little point counts. Trust me. Especially once you get to the high tier matches, it's all gonna count. So that's definitely something. If you have AFK marches just standing there, put them in a node. It's always gonna be more beneficial. So DNS still looking really strong on this occupation game. I just want to see if they're gonna rotate towards middle again, because right now they're just swarming everything.
3 altars. That's such a powerful play to have the lion's share of the altars. I mean, each one affording you just so many points per minute compared to any other structure on the map. 150 points per minute? Ooh. That adds up.
And there you go. They cleaned up the Shrine of War. Let's see. I want to see if they're going to pull that same strat that you were talking about earlier, because they're reswarming that Sky Altar on the bottom side again. And I don't see any reinforcements coming in, but those marches are pretty low. So definitely going to see. We got 4 minutes before.
I think it's real close.
No,
I think
nobody's in middle.
I don't know who's going to get this. You'd think more people will be going to the middle at this point, though. There it is. They take the Sky Altar. I mean, that seems to be the play. They did it twice in a row now.
See, and I feel like DNS should already be rotating. They have the occupation on the structures. All these Desert Altar marches should probably be rotating towards middle. That way they're not giving up, coming in super late. Because DN1...
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem they're going to have is that even if they went middle, look how low health they are.
That is true.
They're just... And oh man, they ended up giving that altar again? Was that 1 or 2 marches that were there? I'm confused. I think they're missing a captain right now in DNS. And look, this happens. Like, sometimes you take the structure and your captain gets knocked out, or your captain gets swarmed out before you get in there. So they're not able to hold on to this thing as well as they would like.
And I am seeing DNS rotating up from the bottom side towards middle. So they do have the numbers. This rotation around, as of right now, but we got about 2.5 minutes. I definitely think this Desert Altar will go down on the bottom side because they are pulling numbers towards the middle. But at this point, if you're DNS, you definitely need this arc. It's going to be worth 3,500 points, and it puts you right back in the mix. So I guess we'll see.
Wow.
Who's going to be popping to the death first.
2 minutes and 15 seconds till arc spawn. And somehow, there's not even 20 marches in the middle contesting. Looks like 15 of them are blue and 5 are red. So DN-1's forfeiting this arc by virtue of not being there? Uh-oh.
Yeah, there's DNS pushing, but there's Solo pushing. Let's see if DN-1's going to pull him
Yeah,
out.
DNS is, I mean, they're able to really move up the field here. Why not?
But they're pulling him out. Look, and now from the bottom side, here comes DN-1. Red marches pulling in. Let's see.
Oh,
Let's see if
yeah.
they're going to catch DNS coming, overextending. If you're DNS,
1
you
minute
just ball
and
up.
30 seconds. Honestly, call me crazy, but if you're DNS, like, you should maybe move really far forward and try to just create such a ruckus that the carrier just gets away with the arc for free.
I think DN-1 would just run around the sides of him. See, that's always the worry that you have when you overextend, is you might just have a smart, like JST did it this morning. They pulled him out, and then they had all the marches literally run on the outsides of the top and bottom of it, and then you had all your marches running backwards to try to cut everyone off. So
Get outmaneuvered.
yeah, and that's always the trick with it, is if you have a ton of marches, I definitely agree with that. But with this amount of marches, I think DN-1 would just run around them. And at that point, I'm pretty confident DN-1 now has more marches in the middle.
Oh my gosh. The next joke is in. 1860 is going to find out you can lose when you win. Chat's
memes-
funny today, man.
The memes chat. Yeah, we're gonna.
What's going on? 30 seconds till arc? This arc carrier's getting it for free. This is a free carry. I don't understand.
They're gonna bait him. Watch. They're gonna bait. Let's see if DNS is gonna get hit with to the death. I bet you. Let's see it.
I mean, DN-1 moves in.
Okay, I do like this play. Mystical.
Mystical's good. What? I mean, they're just going through the meat grinder to get in position on the carrier.
I want to see
But
war
they might
drums.
get there. I am surprised. See, this seems like a very appropriate time to use speed. Wait a minute, they're coming around the back too? Okay, I like it. I like it. DN-1 from both sides, but yeah, okay, the arc carrier picked it up for free. And along the way, these guys got shoot up to the high heavens because they waited till 28 seconds till arc spawn to move in on the arc with a 30-second walk.
I'm wondering where all these skills. How are they using their skill points? Because we're only seeing one skill every rotation, and usually you see
Yeah, it is a
2 or
little
3.
confusing. It does feel you're making a very good point here that like it feels like they're capping on ability points practically. I get that they use mystical and war drums, but where are the other points?
Yeah, because usually you'll see it and people are popping the full bar on the second one for sure. But that's only 4. That's half the bar right there.
I think a part of the reason is that the arc was not held. It was instant capped, so there was not a lot of time to
That is true.
recuperate those ability points.
That's a good point. True. Very true.
But the arc now really far downfield in favor of DNS. I mean, that really is a huge advantage for them. And DN-1 has just had to go through the grinder to even get in contention of the arc. While DNS and Blue just free walks this thing.
I do like that I'm seeing a lot more marches coming on the side of DN-1 to come and try to stop this. But, yeah, see, and they're doing a nice little stall here. They keep picking it up and killing the arc carrier. There's Heaven's Grace. This could
Heaven's
flip.
Grace running charge. Wow, this is not what I expected. And Swift Stride?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. There's no...
That is a lot of march speed. I mean, they picked up the arc and they really tried to go for it. But again, I feel like a lot of these march speed abilities are a bit of a trap. It's so rare that you actually get a clean breakaway, even with all those speed boosts, you know?
Yeah. I don't know
There's
if I
too
would
much AoE. Even if they don't target you, there's just too much AoE.
But double popping those just doesn't make sense to me.
That's a lot of points they burned.
You could have done Bog Down to slow the reinforcements. You could have... I don't know what skills they have, but the lower defense. You could have done a lot of other variations besides a double speed pop. So
Yeah, I like the bog down alternative there that you were proposing
Yeah.
because, you know, you speed yourself with one ability and then slow the enemy and reduce their defense with another. That sounds like a nice combination. I will hand this to DN-1 that somehow, despite starting this fight late, despite getting chewed up as they walk a full 30 seconds to get in position, DN-1 is looking pretty fierce right now, actually.
yeah, they have the marches coming, but they are investing a lot. But if you're DNS, you put a lot into this, but you definitely can't afford for DN1 to take it. You definitely want to make sure that you get this arc at all costs, because you've already invested a ton, and they constantly keep dropping them.
DNS, I mean, if they can get this arc, they even up the board. If DN1 gets this arc and they just picked it up and I feel like they're clearing the field.
Yeah, they are clearing pretty fiercely right now.
If DN1 scores this arc, I mean, they are at that point, in my eyes, really heavily favored to win the match. You gotta win structures or arcs, and ideally both, but probably not at this level of gameplay, right? And arcs are worth just so many points. And the structure game's about even.
DN1 is wrecking them right now. Oh no, it's red. We zoomed out to look at the dots, and it's just all red. Oh no, and there goes the arc runner. Let's see if it's a C. If it's a CC, oh lord, it is a CC.
See, this is what I was suggesting earlier about
Now,
the difference in power possibly being representative of the commander depth
yeah,
and the strength of equipment. Because I feel like in order to pull off what they just did, man, they've got to have, I would say, better average commanders and equipment.
I agree. I agree 100%. I do know DN1 definitely have some spenders, but DNS, I believe have some. But like you were saying, VIP comes in as well. They probably have a ton more VIP 18s. And, you know, the gear is always a big deal. I know a lot of people try to play it down, but when you're marching against a team that has all legendary, you know, 5 marches, it becomes a little tough. So we are watching the CC going to run away with this arc. I don't think the Guan's going to catch him. So, and just like that, DN1 bring it back all the way to come capture another arc. Looks so promising.
I mean, this really is going to nudge things up in their favor. It'll be 15 to 21,000.
Yeah. So it's not an end all. So here's the interesting play. Do you think DN1's going to insta capture this one?
Yes. I think they're just going all in on arcs. and it feels like they're going for point differential by slam dunking the arcs. That's my guess.
Yeah. And that's where it always comes down. If you know that your pool's going to be very tight, even regardless if it's a team that you know, point differential comes into play when you get those 2-2-2s. So you never want to make it as close as you possibly can. You always want to try to score as much, especially during ties. That way you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, as we wait for this arc to score, this might be a good opportunity to explain how some of the tie-breaking mechanics work. What do you think?
Yeah. Okay, so in the scenario where you'll see pools that will end up with 2 wins for three alliance, so it'll be 2-2-2-0. What it comes down to is it comes down to net points. So just do you want to explain how net points work?
Yeah, so in this stage of things, 2 teams from each grouping of 4 advances. But in a case of a tie for second place, so 2 teams that both have 2 wins, then they look at the point differential. How much did you win your matches by? And whoever has the greatest point differential moves on. Did I get that right?
Yeah. So long story short, just like simple math, because I know everyone always likes the math. So you play 3 matches. If you win 1 match by you scored 10,000, your opponent scored 5, you get a positive net point of 5,000 points. If you lose your second match and you lose by 5,000 points, then your net points goes back to 0. And then, so if you win, you get positive. If you lose, you get negative by the X amount of whatever you won or lost by. And then if you have 3 teams, which is usually the case where it's 2-2-2-0, then the top 2 with the highest net points will then move on. Whoever has the highest will then get first place, and they take first in the group. I hope that wasn't as confusing as I was trying not to make it.
No, that was good.
Okay.
That was good. And, you know, each of the divisions gets a top seed and a bottom seed. And you can already see in game, it'll show you exactly how the brackets unfold. So people are already, of course, making their predictions about what those broader brackets are going to look like, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, and positioning on the groups is always very important, because if you're a first place in your group, you're guaranteed to play the second place of the corresponding group that is already matched. And if you go across to when we look at the top 16 bracket, it already has the association with A1 versus H2, A2 versus H1. So you have your already designated spot, so you'll know who's going to be playing who later on, probably in about a week or two. And you can roughly see how it's going to break out just off of that. And so positioning is always a big deal. I know, especially in Horus, there are, with the upsets that came out, the left side of that bracket is going to, you potentially have a ton of champions. You have OV, JST. You're going to have a ton of people that probably shouldn't have been there, but got surprised today, that are now going to end up all on the left side of the bracket.
You know, Arc League is hard to predict. It's so hard to know, like, which teams are going to advance, or some teams going to have a bad day. Is everybody going to be there and play to their best? Is a team going to pull some crazy maneuver? I love the uncertainty that comes with Arc League every season. And right now, on the topic of uncertainty, DNS is holding 3 altars. I mean, if they keep that up for the remainder of the match, that closes the point gap pretty substantially.
Agreed. And the next arc is going to be worth 4,000 points as well. So while we thought, you know, some people might think they're out, 4,000 points, it brings them right back in. You also have to bring into account provisions, which I'm pretty confident both of these teams are going to be doing. And it comes down to the wire, especially if DNS can get this last arc. So we're definitely going to be keeping our eyes on that one. But in occupation, DNS has actually been very impressive.
I would agree. Their ability to take these structures is really good. It feels like their weakness is their ability to take a mid-fight against DN-1. And I almost wonder if, because of that, they perhaps should be looking at like a more building-centric strategy.
So we had a question about points per minute in structures. So your altars are going to give you 150 points per minute as you tick over. So the way you're earning points, if you all see on these structures right here, you see it's counting down 42 seconds. Well, just flip back over to DNS. You'll see it has a minute and 56 now. At this point, when it's the structure is neutralized, we classify that as neutral, there are no points being earned from this structure. Once you capture the building, then you start ticking over points per minute, and your altars will give you 150 points. So that's why this is such a big deal when DNS is holding 3 altars, because at that point, they're already getting 450 points per minute just on the 3 altars by itself.
Yeah. It's important to remember, as you were describing, that it's also a point swing. The point swing is super real, right? It's not just taking 150 points per minute from me. It's taking away 150 points per minute from you. Ooh.
Yeah, and the neutral game is an interesting concept. We saw a lot of that last season, where teams would just bum rush the last like 5 minutes and try to neutralize all your structures, because then you wouldn't have enough time in order for them to tick over for points. So the neutralizing structures can be a play in itself, which is always fun.
Yeah, actually, I mean, you bring up a really good point there. You do have to hold the structure for 3 minutes before you start getting the points. And that's a non-trivial amount of time. And there are things that reduce that amount of time. For example, hard push I know is being thrown around in this matchup.
DNS they're first. They're not waiting. Well, they are still coming in late at 2.5 minutes, but they are bringing the numbers this time. They're still coming in late, but they're coming in with more marches than last time. So we're gonna see, and they're collapsing from all sides, but they are losing structures. So we're gonna have to keep an eye whether this arc is gonna be worth it or not.
To the death? Is this the time?
Is this the time? Well, if they can pop more than one skill, then we might see it. You definitely want to see. We've seen some high octane plays where people popped to the death this morning, and the opponents just ran away with their cav marches and wasted the entire. Like they wasted their opponents to the death. It was just so good.
It's a powerful play. It's actually remarkable how effective you can be in doing that.
All right.
You think the team is committed, but if they're coordinated enough, they can just walk away from it.
I like what I'm seeing from DNS. They're posturing forward on the opponent's side. So this time it looks like they're going to make DN-1 do the same thing they did the last time. They're going to have to push all the way through. I want to see if DNS is going to take it to them, though. Because last time they didn't, and then DN-1 just pushed all the way through. So I want to see if they're going to ball up, go and approach
I think
them.
they're going to do that. I think they're just running it back. I think they're doing the exact same thing they just did. I think at 30 seconds or so, DN-1 is going to push, and I think that the average march power is going to be high enough on DN-1 that they'll get away with it.
See, I think they baited him last time, and I think they're going to wait for DN-1 to do it. And once they're already in the muck, they're going to pop to the death and then murder them for their overcommitment. I think that's what's going to happen. Because that's the play that's hard to predict is when your opponent's pushing in, sometimes they'll push in, bait out the skill, and then pull back out. But DN-1 last time didn't do that, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
I hope for DNS that they have to the death ready. Here it is. 15 seconds till arc spawns. I don't know that I've ever seen a team wait so long to play for the arc.
What are we
Swift
popping?
stride for DNS.
I don't know if that would be the first skill I would be popping. Man, you can't even...
I mean, their arc carrier will already have speed, but they'll only have it for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, because they popped it so early and it takes 10 seconds to grab this arc. See, I'm not a fan of that. That timing is very odd.
There it is.
There's Mystical from DN-1. DNS. Dude.
Running charge.
There's double.
Okay. They're going for a trick play, a trick grab. Nope.
Nope. And that's the fault with that play. If you don't get away, you just committed 4 skill points for march speed, and now you better hope people can pick it up and run, because if not, DN-1 is going to use their DPS, their war drums. They're going to use all that and melt all your marches. Here it goes. It's going to stay stuck.
It feels to me like a catastrophic use of points.
Yeah.
Like if you succeed, it's amazing, but if you fail, then you didn't get a lot of value at all out of the points.
Yep. So neither team popped to the death.
Oh man,
this whole match.
I don't know, man. I find that confusing. I mean, are they waiting for a 4th arc for to the death? I don't think they even have it on the bar.
If you're DNS, I don't even know if you might have to have a 4th arc, as much as you don't want to. It might be required at this point.
DNS is looking at needing a 4th arc at this point.
I don't know if they're going to have time for it. I think DN-1's doing a fantastic job stalling this arc right here. They're constantly dropping the arc carrier.
Yeah, so it's 8 minutes of arc respawn time, plus 1 minute of time that it would take, best case, to march this arc without interruption to score it. So that would leave enough time to score the next arc.
Well, we saw Song use Swift Stride earlier, and well, they would have gotten it, but it was with 1 minute and 25 seconds, and they popped the skill and just ran it with the CC, and that guy was flying. He was flying. So it is possible, but it's highly unlikely if it's not contested. Like if you're not contesting it, but they are running it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna get this arc.
But at what cost? The points per minute is now 210 for DNS to 820 for
They
DN1.
lost an altar, which is pretty rough. I mean, DN1 in red just has so many options.
Yeah.
And DNS has to do everything. They have to hold their buildings, maybe even take a building, and score the arc. It's a tough spot to be in.
Good play is, if you're the arc runner, if you're DNS right now, you should be full sending forward. The arc runner has plenty of marches to protect it. There you go. You should start seeing people rotate, go secure your structures again. Some push forward. That way you don't give up all your map presence. And off we go. Now it's down to the final. How long is this arc runner going to take? Well, it's a Guan, so a minute 10. So that will leave them with about 6 minutes on the last arc.
Yeah, not even. I mean, there might be. Oh, interesting. They went into a caravan to give it to a new carrier.
Mm-hmm. I think they
Presumably
probably.
somebody faster.
Yeah, most likely, for sure.
I don't know if the 20 seconds you lose doing that maneuver is worth it, though.
Then they give it to a Saladin. It's just as equally slow.
So, what do you do in this situation? They're going to score this arc. We were talking about timing just a second ago. It's 30 seconds till they score it. So that'll be 14 and a half minutes left in the match. Subtract the 8 minutes of the respawn timer, and you're looking at like 6.5 minutes left in the match.
I think that's...
And then it's a 2-minute walk time to score the arc.
Well, they keep using those double march skills, so the 2 minutes to march is probably closer to like a minute 30 if they get a clean run. But if it was DNS, to be honest, the play that should be called right now is you should have more provisioners being sent out right now, because it's going to come down to that. You're going to capture this. It's going to be worth 4,000 points. Literally, look at the score right now, 27. It's going to put them in the lead. Correction. They just captured it. So they're down by 3K. This next
they
arc,
need the arc.
Yeah, the next arc's going to be worth 4,500. Provisions, we can kind of scrub around and see if DN1 are doing it. If not, DNS definitely needs to send a couple more. And then you try to either stall in the middle or cap, and then try to get as many provisions as you can. I always feel like provisioning's a safer bet than having to get a miracle arc pull. Because a lot of the times, especially in gear, I think DN1 would just stall if they had to in middle. I don't think they understand they don't need the cap. So it's just all about stalling. And if you're DNS, the easy play is try to get the arc, but if you can get it through provisions, then get it through there. But you definitely can't afford to lose structures, because right now they're in the double deficit to DN1 in points per minute.
Honestly, I really feel like DNS has to go for this next arc, and they have to score it to win. I don't think they can make up the gap in incremental provisioning now. I don't think they can make up the gap in structures. And I think you're spot on that DN1 doesn't even need to score this next arc. They just need it to be in contention and not to be captured.
Yeah. Even if you're DN1, the play could be send maybe 4 or 5 players to go and try to stall in the middle. And then everybody else is just trying to neutralize all the structures, because then you make it about them having to cap it like insta cap. Because right now all I'm seeing is blue structures blinking. So DN1 are putting the heat up on this structure game. And if you're DNS, you can't afford to lose structures. So they're kind of playing and making them choose how much they're going to be able to commit in the middle right now. That's going to be the interesting part.
Yeah, I like the choice by DN1 to play aggressive on structures when they lose arc. 4 altars, that's a catastrophe for DNS. I mean, they committed to middle, but now maybe we're seeing the real problem of that low troop count coming to fruition.
Yeah.
Where, like, can they field all the marches they need to field? I don't know that the answer is yes.
I do like what I'm seeing from DN1, though. They're getting those absolute tanky garrisons that everyone loves to swarm in KVK, and they're getting them in those structures. And oh man, it's like hitting a brick wall right out of your city, trying to just get these guys out of the structure. So the Zenobia getting reinforced right here on the bottom side desert altar, and DN1's making it hard, but DNS is done very well in occupation. So they just swung it back around. So now we're 2-2 on the altars, and they're all blinking. We got 5 minutes left for the rotation for middle, so we're gonna flip over. I'm interested to see if people are gonna start. I definitely see some that are starting to come out from Oh, DN-1, they're going to start hitting these provision marches and trying to take these outposts. So that's it. That's going to be a smart play.
5 minutes till arc. This is what will define the game. But I feel like DN-1 is on the warpath to create enough of a lead in the score that maybe it won't be enough.
They are up by 4,000. Yeah, well, 4,500. Roughly 4,500 points in this next arc. Guess how much that one's? Do you know how much that one's worth, Chis?
I mean, each one goes up by 500, right?
4,500 points, baby. So they are down by 4,500. If they get this arc, it's worth 4,500, and then we are all tied up. Comes down to provisions, points per minute. It's going to be a doozy. If DNS pulls this arc and caps this becomes a very, very interesting finale.
So you're saying it could all come down to who's the better gatherer?
Yes, exactly. Gatherers may lose you KVKs, but they will win you Osiris League.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. May the best farmer win.
Here comes DNS.
Wow.
They're already starting to pull towards mid.
Yeah, DN1's got a couple marches chilling there. I mean, they know. They know. 3 minutes and 40 seconds. The real question is, does DNS know that they need to go mid?
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah, they're coming full.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Full stop in the middle. Yeah.
Oh,
They're just coming.
That's it. That's the thing they have to do right now with everything they have. The problem is that DN1 did such a good job aggressing the structures just now that
DNS is making a play. They're making a play on the top side. I want to see if they're going to wrap around. Look at this march of lines coming through.
I don't like this play. I really, really, really dislike this play.
See, if you're DN1, I would leave a couple of these marches back in this choke point that always happens where you see all these lines vector out. And I would leave a couple there and then just start hitting them as they collapse in the middle. That way you see
they're
this
going
call.
for broke. I mean, I give them kudos for the courage to go all in on probably trying to take the buildings and then swing around the back to get the arc. But I just don't think it's going to work. And I think if they don't get the arc, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I believe by time if they do take these structures, and that's a big if, their marches will be so red and yellow that it's going to mean absolutely nothing trying to rotate towards the middle. And that's the one thing I guarantee they have Zenobias in here and Jadwigas. And this is not going to, and they don't have any rallies coming in on these altars either. So this is going to be rough.
This is really rough.
A Ramses garrison on the bottom side desert altar.
Caught him out, baby. Caught him out. Guess it's not going to be as rough as you thought. Dude, you just spent like the last 30 seconds expressing concern about the strength of Garrison, and then they don't switch the captain.
They lulled to sleep. GG. All right, and the call out should be rotate middle, everybody, and they're going middle. There it goes.
Yeah, okay. So this just got exciting. So 3 of the altars in the hands of blue, possibly going to be a 4th.
And we still have a minute and a half before the arc spawns.
Yeah, but a minute and a half, man.
They're going.
They are nowhere near the middle, and they need to be all over the middle. I feel like this play is almost throwing in the towel, so to speak.
That I can see, because now we're seeing the Zenobia that we thought would be in the altar is actually in the shrine. Rip. And she is melting all these marches. Look at them all red and yellow. We got Caesars. This is not the first time we've seen Caesar today. We saw Caesar Barca multiple times in these past 2 matches, and they were in Horus. So it's going to be interesting. Interesting coming up with the museum buffs and all that kind of stuff. Seeing if we're going to start seeing some old classics come back. Maybe we'll have
I love that.
Couple
really
Scipio spotted, couple Scipio spotteds, you know, in the upcoming cast. You know, you never know. We won't shoot it down.
Okay. So the whole force of DN1 is now getting distracted, chasing after this group in the back. But unfortunately, nobody's coming from the other side for blue. This is tragic for DNS.
Yeah.
They really needed a proper contention of this arc, and they just don't have it.
Why did they pop Swift Stride? Oh my god. Are they just And now they're just face palming into the center.
No way.
Yep, from the bottom side. They're just.
I mean, they're attacking with. They're attacking into a superior force, and that is just.
And that Shrine of
not
War.
going well.
They just took the Shrine of War from that Zenobia, and now they're just going to get insta-swarm with the Guan garrison, and they're going to instantly lose it back. Oof.
So what do you do from this position? A couple options. First of all, blue is basically taking the whole map, which is a plot twist I didn't see coming. Like, look at the map. They even had the obelisk for a second there. If they actually could have held Shrine of War, like, there would be nowhere for the team in red to capture this thing.
If they hold this points per minute lead, it's still, even without this arc, if they can hold DN-1 from not getting it and they hold this points per minute lead, they still will come really close, assuming they sent that couple of provisioners that we called out
630 points per minute's pretty hefty, actually. Yeah. For 5 minutes, that's another 3,000 points to close the gap. It's not enough, though, but provisioning could do the trick.
Nick, so you're saying, Chisco, it's coming down to farmers.
So I'm saying... yeah. I'm
Got
saying
'em.
once again that it might come down to provisioning. Yikes. I feel like the folks in red really have a solid grasp on control of the arc.
That's a 710 point per minute lead. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. People are shaking in their boots at this point, unless... I don't even know if DN-1... I think DN-1 should just reset. They should just reset and neutralize structures. They don't need this arc. They really don't. But this points per minute could kill them. They're 710 points per minute behind DNS right now. But DNS needs to slow this arc down. Couple more drops.
If they score the arc, they definitely win if you're
Correct.
DN-1.
Correct. But you are basically putting your team all in.
Field control. I think they go for it. But I don't know what you do if you're DNS. You have too long of a walk. You've already popped your march speed skills. I don't know. There maybe was a play if they could have taken the Shrine of War and properly garrisoned it. There's a Xeno for DN-1.
Yep.
I mean, I think this arc, what, to the death? DN-1.
Oh, Lord. They popped it. They popped it for all these marches that have nothing
Yeah,
to
that's a big don't you dare touch my arc if I've ever seen it.
Mm-hmm. Hold my beer moment. Yeah.
That arc is going. I mean, they popped that skill to deal with like 4 or 5 marches. Oh, but here comes the rally. Okay. Walkman 1, 2, 3, 4 with the Pakal Herald in on Zenobia.
The lead is down to 2.4K.
This is getting shockingly close.
They should be getting close to the realm of getting that speed skill again too.
2 minutes and 45 seconds to score the arc. And how is the points per minute? Still looking good, but not enough to be a gap closer here.
Correct.
So DNS needs this arc, and I just don't know that they have a way to get it as War Drums comes down for the side in red. That is DN-1, who is now attempting to pick the arc back up. There it is. They've got the arc.
Provisioner coming in. It's down to 1.6K, and they do have provisioners going out. Might be too little too late.
Matchup's really close, but the arc will define it.
Yes.
It would be an awfully unfortunate backfire for DNS if they end up ahead, but lose because of the arc, because they could have held it last time.
What would have been tragic is the fact that they have all these speed skills and aren't using a single... This is the ideal situation to use it. When you're trying to march all these blue marches topside, look at the amount of blue marches they're getting sent. This is when you pop that speed skill. They've
got to keep this arc from scoring. I mean, they've got to keep this arc from scoring, and they have to take the Shrine of War and score it there. And they only have 1 minute and 20 seconds to get it done.
Chisco.
I don't know about that.
It's 700 point lead. It's a 700
game's
point
close.
lead. 700 point lead, and they have double the points per minute. We got a minute left. It's going to come down to the wire. If they got to stop this arc carrier. It's coming down to the wire. Oh, I don't think they're going to get him. Oh!
Is there room in the garrison? There is.
Oh.
Wow, Dark Ottoman dunks that final arc, scoring it at the Shrine of War, providing a safe gap in points and enough of a lead that DN-1 will be able to call themselves the victor of this match.
Wow.
Wow.
That, and they actually would have won that. Look at the points. They would have won that, tick that one, and they didn't capture that arc. Holy smokes. But hey, DN-1 did what it took. They didn't back down from it, and they capped that. They dunked that final arc to put him in. Oh.
Both of these teams were really fun to watch.
Yeah.
You never know what to expect when it's like a, I don't know, same kingdom battle, right? But that was very fun to spectate as these two teams duked it out. The one advances, DN-1, and DNS takes a loss, but a very respectable showing.
Oh, yeah. 100%. If DNS doesn't earn a little respect off of this match, man, they did a phenomenal job. Like, if it wasn't for that last arc, it would have come down really, really tight. But let's do the tail of the tape. We'll rehash a couple of surprise matches that we saw today and get kind of your final thoughts, Chis, and then we'll let everyone go. So, most valuable player at 136,000 points from DN-1 with a Boudica. All right, tail of the tape. DNS, DN-1, 36.7. So they narrowly would have squeaked that one out. And then 43.2 on the side of DN-1. Arc of Osiris's was 1-3 in favor of DN-1, 4K to 11K. That occupation, look how it's so close, 28-28. Provisions in favor of DNS at 4.6 to 4.2. And then total kills, 55-57. Flip-flop for severely wounded. The units healed. 27 million and 25 million troops healed. Over 50 million troops were healed in this match. 30-30 teleports and 1-3 in the arcs. So, all right, let's dive into a couple of surprise upsets that we had today. Let me see. Did you have a chance to take a look, Chis, at some of the match scores, or you kind of want me to get your ideas and feelers on some of the matches today?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I looked mostly at the Realm of Horus, and a few of the matches that I wanted to look in on were, the ones with the previous champions. So JST had actually a really close match against BG.
It was very, very good. It was a fun cast for sure. But JST they looked like a well-oiled machine. I would say, and this is kind of a high praise because I love JST, but Song to me might have looked the most organized today to me. And they were very impressive. Their rotations were on par. Their commander selection was top notch. And they constantly they stuck it to SX, and it was kind of intimidating. They really solidified in our minds, kind of them being a top 4. But Peak coming out here and surprising us. I know you've played against Peak as well. Does that kind of surprise you that they're coming out and I would say shocking? A lot of people had 412A taking this group. I'm pretty confident, and a lot of people are choosing Peak now.
Yeah, there's always so many surprises here. 412A. I might have expected them to win, although they've had, I think, a number of key migrants depart from the kingdom, which is pretty rough.
Yeah, I know PX had Kingsland opening like an hour before they had their match.
Oh, no way. Kingsland opening right when you got to play Arc League? GG, that's rough.
Yeah, so PX lost to NNAV, which is the second team for 1V. So that came as a surprise, and then they came in chat saying that their Kingsland had just opened like an hour before. It's like, oh Lord. 84 DL,
I mean,
coming in surprising
I don't know what
people.
You're supposed to do about that. Kingsland or Arc League? Oof.
Choices.
Tough choices, that's for sure.
And
I mean, a
now,
lot of these matches are like really close scores. The 1008 versus Mimi is really close. Wow, like only a couple hundred points?
it came down to provisions. Somebody shared a screenshot with me earlier from their match, and it came down to provisions. It was 6.5K to 4K in provisions, and they
Wow.
pulled it out at the very end and Mimi had been holding it the entire time, and it came down to provisions. So
That's wild.
yeah, we had 94 VN that lost. Those were one of the favorites with the Eyes of Talent. They lost to R2DK, or I always say it wrong, but they lost to them as well. We had V636 lose today to 671K. Whom almost beat WIB. That one was fairly close as well. And it was just filled with a ton of surprises. So I know we're both excited. Is there a match in particular in Horus that maybe it hasn't happened, but you're looking forward to seeing it?
Ooh, a match in Horus that I'm most looking forward to seeing. I got to look at the group stages here and get a peek. I mean, wow. I mean, Group D's got a lot of really crazy teams with C9A, JST, and BG. I'm kind of eager to see C9N battle JST.
For the top
I
of the
think
group?
that's going to be kind of exciting. And I want to see Song battle 1021.
Ooh,
Blackjack.
See
Yeah.
those are gonna be some awesome matches for sure. Yeah, I think I love both of those, but I don't want to mimic yours because those would probably be the ones I'd choose too. But I think definitely one that should fall on a lot of people's radars is now you're gonna see PX34 having to fight to make it. We have a couple of people fighting to make it in now, and PX34 returning champion is now going to be playing uphill. I'm pretty confident against them in SK57, but 93T coming out, it's very strong and surprising a lot of people. So definitely want to keep your eyes on that one. And then of course you always want to see OV. We just watched DNS versus DN-1, and then you're going to have OV versus 108 battling it out, same kingdom, to see who's going to be number one in the group and who's getting sent to the other side of the bracket. So, or if Mimi's going to come and upset and kind of play spoiler. There's so many things. I could see Mimi pulling an upset. I could see, like, they almost upset 108. So it is going to be very interesting to watch. But I appreciate you hanging out with us today, Chis. Definitely look forward to watching and casting with you in the future, my friend.
Hey, a pleasure as always. Thank you for having me. Congratulations to both teams on like a really well fought match. I mean, who knows if they did that match multiple times, would it be the same outcome? I'd be really curious to watch it and see if it happens, but maybe they'll both advance.
Yeah. All right. Well, until the next time, rockers, I'm Anthony with the Bull Burritos. Chisco Gaming. Go check him out if you haven't already. He just hit 150,000 subscribers. Congratulations, my friend. And we will see y'all on the next stream.